Hello everybody, this is JTC once again, coming to you, essentially coming to you live from the heart of everything that's going on. I just wanted to remind you that I appreciate your support for my channel, and the main purpose behind my channel, why it is out there, to start with, is really for, the people who are missing persons all over the world, people who have been downtrodden by the flames of basically of life, in general. And so I want to remind everyone of that as you spread the word and you really get things going out there, that this is for them. This is for these people who have been forgotten and who have been lost in our history, as far as I'm concerned, and so forth. This channel is not about me, although I put myself in high regards and take care of myself well, But I don't. You notice that I don't go out running around with really high-end bags and different lotions and things. I don't care what kind of bags, folks, that I use or any of that stuff. And once in a while, I will make sure to have the proper and well-honed presentation, you can bet. But the point being, this is really about these missing people. And my channel, I want you guys to remember and keep spreading the word, because the word is finally getting out there. We can help more and more of them the further that these videos get spread. And without singling anyone out, in particular, I just wanted to speak for a second about the fact of what I call high and mighty YouTubers, or kind of the false facade style of YouTubers, and how to be aware of them, because they all, carry different names, and some of them, I think, start with the letter T, for example, and they say a lot of interesting things, but none of it is ultimately genuine in a sense that it's going to help all of you out. And so I wanted to let you know that starting in January, that is less than a few weeks, we're going to be opening up the official mailbag for this channel. And what that means is I'm going to put all of you on display, because this has never been about me in reality. It's really about all of these people who have gone through these interesting things, these missing people, and so on, and really how to support and help them. So I'm going to put you all on display. And I hope you appreciate that, because most YouTubers will not do anything similar to that. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do a mailbag session, and we're going to have, comments from all over the world, from those who like what we're trying to do, those who are haters, all of these different comments. We're going to put them on display in a mailbag, because, folks, I want to reach as many people as we possibly can reach. And I want to make a difference out there. That's the real main purpose for our channel. So once again, thank you. Appreciate all of you. Look forward to this upcoming case, on Tennessee. And genuinely, like, comment, subscribe, spread the word, because there's much more to come. We will be covering the laundry situation in a careful way. Thank you again. JTC signing off. Okay, folks, here's what it's all about. This has been being investigated quite a bit in depth, off screen, because this is a major case. And I need to read this to you, because this is a key part you need to all be aware of, all right? This morning, Sidewalk Prophets were involved in a terrible fire that destroyed $95,000 worth of gear, equipment, and merchandise in Tennessee. At approximately 5 a.m., the trailer attached to their bus caught on fire. With the quick thinking and hard work by the driver and crew, they were able to unlodge the bus from the trailer safely before the trailer completely went up in flames. Thankfully, the band and crew are all safe for the Something Different tour. Now, this is important, folks. Very important, to be exact, because it's been being investigated a lot as Sidewalk Prophet, all right, was tied directly to Hunter Mills. And one of the locations where this trafficking has occurred, that's absolutely what was responsible for Samantha Sperry's kidnapping, but also clearly the disappearance of Summer Wells. One of them was located in Nashville, Tennessee. That's correct. And so you're going to see exactly why this is so very important, and to really document everything about this, why that's very important. This is tied to a trafficking group. No question about that. And the Sidewalk Prophets are actually known as the Branch Davidians of Nashville. That's correct. They call themselves, after the Branch Davidian church, the official congregation of the Branch Davidians. And so they are involved absolutely, including a woman named Turpin, who was, very closely involved with the Sidewalk Prophets. Okay? And this is such a big deal about everything that's going on with the fires and so on, because there's been some concrete links that show the Sidewalk Prophets were involved in trafficking and also were involved in setting up actual fires for barns and for different things. So this is not a good group. Not only that, this is a group that appears to be involved in some major human trafficking operations. And so, this video is going to be going up, but also this week we are officially going to be going and reaching the Tennessee FBI, leaving them an important message on this situation. It's time they do their jobs. That's right. They need to see this for the severity of what it is. The Sidewalk Prophets are involved in some kind of trafficking that's known as human trafficking, bottom line. And not only that, they are starting fires and setting fires to different properties in order to attempt to cover up their trafficking. Thank you. More on Summer Wells and Samantha Sperry will be following up. So this is being split up. This is very, very important. It's going to be split up into two separate videos on two separate cases. But what we've been discussing here is the Sidewalk Prophets. That's correct, the Sidewalk Prophets. And something that very few are aware of is that a man by the name of John Hendrix, that's the cousin of Jimmy Hendrix, okay, was heavily involved with the Sidewalk Prophets. One of his friends in Tennessee and also in Kentucky were in the middle of this enormous trafficking operation. This is just trafficking like you've never seen it before. And they arrested over 11 different patrons dealing in the solicitation of minors, both male and female minors. And John Hendrix covered this up. That's right. So Jimmy Hendrix officially covered this up. And what we're going to discover now, more as we cover this, is he was involved with Vanderbilt University. You can't make any of this up. He was literally involved with Vanderbilt University. The Sidewalk Prophets go back a long ways, and one of his good friends was David Frey. That's correct, the lead singer of the Sidewalk Prophets. So Jimi Hendrix and David Frey were involved together. And as a lead in the Sidewalk Prophets, they covered up massive child trafficking. Massive child trafficking. And so you'd see David Frey a lot, go out on TV saying how much they're fighting child trafficking. You see Billy Joel with them, essentially. And this was, in fact, all a cover and a lie, because David Frey, and Jimi Hendrix and John Hendrix and so on, and also Billy Joel, were some of the biggest supporters of child trafficking you are ever going to see. Across Tennessee, across Jamestown, Virginia, And yes, across Kentucky, where Samantha Sperry was kidnapped. And now, of course, we see it again. There's the Sidewalk Prophets. No mistaking it. Sidewalk Prophets of Nashville, Tennessee. And they are a major component, all right, folks, of this trafficking network. And they covered up the kidnapping of Samantha Sperry and others. That's correct. And others. And we're going to get more into Billy Joel and his connection to a very strange church that, interestingly enough, is located directly in Delphi, Indiana. We will get into that in another video. However, you needed to know about this, that some of the single largest human trafficking in American history occurred right under the nose of Jimmy Hendrix, John Hendrix, Billy Joel, and the Sidewalk Prophets, which includes David Frey. So thank you again. This is important. Sidewalk Prophets, once again, they say things like the inspiring mid-tempo come to the table is essentially an invitation to accept the free gift of salvation. Dave authoritatively expresses for everyone to come to the table. You ain't nobody until you are loved, etc. And all the rest that they do with this is really quite something else. And John Hendrix, Jimmy Hendrix, Jimmy Needham, and quite a few others were a part of this. And so they covered for this child trafficking operation. One of the youth pastors that was heavily linked to the Sidewalk Prophets was none other than Mr. Matthew Brewer. Interestingly enough, in the Tennessee National Guard and similar, and he had been involved in chaplain status for a Fairfield Baptist church right there near Nashville. And he claimed that he was on the End Slavery Task Force on top of that. So these people, David Frey, Jimi Hendrix, etc., have never been in favor of stopping child trafficking. They've been the exact opposite. They wanted to cover up and continue child trafficking for a long time to come. All of them. And we're talking about everybody all the way up to, Trey Smith and so on that was involved with this group known as the Sidewalk Prophets. Now, Mary Turpin was also, believe it or not, directly linked to the Sidewalk Prophets. And she went to a church known as kind of the Matthew Shepherd Church, something to that effect, in Delphi, Indiana. That's correct. Delphi, Indiana. And so that will be covered very, very in depth soon enough in an entirely separate video. But I wanted you guys to see just how far this trafficking really goes and how deep it is and how many are covering up, most likely, the trafficking of both Summer Wells, Michael Vaughn, and plenty more who were victims that are right there in the area where Samantha Sperry vanished. That's correct. They all were most certainly involved in making these children disappear. And this is something you can't ever replace. This is an interesting little fact about this business entity registration. They registered it in the state of Tennessee, ironically enough. And it's the Sidewalk Prophets, right there on Franklin Road. And where else has it been registered? It's been registered in Kentucky. That's correct. So these folks have been doing the two-step to literally permeate child trafficking nationwide for a long, long time. And that's the important thing here. Thank you. Urban, that's really all there is to it. And they go on tour. The Sidewalk Prophets. It's really, really terrible. To the extent that they go on tour talking about how they're going to end child trafficking, end human trafficking, slavery, etc. And they do the exact opposite on the tour. They promote and enable child trafficking on a mass scale. That's correct. And then here we see them with the Hendrix siblings once again, They were promoting Hendrix and Jimmy Hendrix a lot. Every single festival that the Sidewalk Prophets would get involved with, especially in North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, and any other area where they could see, potentially Billie Eilish, etc. Here's their tour. They go into each of these areas, and you notice, folks, places like Norfolk, Virginia are listed a lot. That's no coincidence. That's again because the Sidewalk Prophets are actually on tour promoting trafficking and promoting child trafficking. One of the worst things in history. And they're doing that professionally as part of their job. It's part of their profession, in other words. So you can bet Don Wells, and so on were involved with these people. But notice how the Sidewalk Prophets are literally on every single street corner in Tennessee. And see what that tells you about what's really been going on this whole time. That's right. And it makes you wonder, where in the world is the jury looking into every single one of these music stars? We're talking Billie Eilish, Billy Joel especially, right? Jimi Hendrix and his whole career, everything to do with the Sidewalk Prophets and David Frey. Where are they? Spread the word. There's much more to come. And so, folks, all I'm pointing out, about this whole thing is these great, large YouTubers, they put on a great facade, ultimately. Some of them, I think, that start with the letter T, such as a Scott or a Trend kind of situation or whatever. I just point out it doesn't matter who you are nowadays, whether you're good, evil, or anything else, you shouldn't be valuing things that much. Because, I'm just pointing out, folks, tomorrow somebody might instigate an earthquake, for example, and everything is gone. All the possessions, everything. The house, all that. Boom! It's gone. And so why I point that out is, certain YouTubers, without naming names, are very, very specifically zeroed in on this kind of thing, and that's the last thing you want to be having any kind of attachment or anything to in the time we live in today. So again, make sure to share the videos. We're going to find every missing person we can. Thank you again.